a lot of information about communication. I hand over the session to you, ma'am. And before that, I would like to uh, just ask regret for the inconvenience in the last session. Participants, sorry for the inconvenience regarding the audio issue. There was some technical issue in the college. That's why sir's audio wasn't that clear. And sir will be sharing his PDF as well with all of you. Thank you very much. Please enjoy the session on communication. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good evening. And just before beginning communication today, I think in the last class I have made a promise to someone I will verify something and come back. So first I should fulfill the promise and then we will start with communication. So I think I don't remember the name of the person, but in fact they didn't tell me the name. But they had asked me one question whether, ma'am, is there any cutoff for paper one? And I told I am not sure about it. I'll just check and come back. So I had discussed it with my colleagues. I also searched in the internet, and this is what I got. A 40 percentage aggregate is the minimum score that you will require, and for SC, ST or any other reservation category, 35 is what is being expected. And then my colleagues also told me that there is not much there is no such division between paper 1 and paper 2, but what needs to be taken care is that in paper 1 you should get at least 25 answers correct, that is maybe up to 50 marks. Why people highlight that? Because if that much if you are able to get from paper 1, then only the balance you will get from paper 2 and you can clear it. So this is what I wanted to tell you. And if you search in the internet, you will get these details: selection process, step 1, step 2. And in step 2 they also have highlighted that the 6% of the total candidates appeared in both the papers should qualify for assistant professor. So like that, these steps are available, you can read further. And one thing I missed out in the first session was, I told you about the net, you can opt to both net and GRF, but I failed to mention, after saying that 28 is the age of cutoff, I failed to tell you that the GRF validity is for 3 years. So that also has to be kept in mind. And I'm so sorry to tell you, the men over here, I just confirmed that it is 28 for men, and female candidates and other physically challenged sections will have a 5 year of addition. So these are some of the things that adding on to the last session. Now let us begin with the communication. I am sure you all had a nice tea break and you are all fresh in mind to start listening to me with the new topic, that is communication. Now when we talk about communication, you know what, all of us know some or the other languages. We all talk from morning till evening, so we think that it is something very simple, which is very common to all of us, and we are all well established in communication, or we all have the thorough understanding or knowledge about communication. This is what a myth even I had, until one of my friends told me that, you know what, in a marital life, I don't know if how many of you are married in this category. If you are married, you should agree or disagree, or you can experiment it in further. Okay, and I thought communication is very simple and we are all very good. If you know English, if you know Hindi, if you know Kannada, you are a very good communicator. That was even my understanding about communication. Unless and until I started studying it systematically, and especially when this person told me in marriages all problems begins with the communication, and the only way to solve it also is the means of communication. So I don't know how many of you agree with it. So if communication can create problems, the only way to solve our problems is also communication. Now why do we say that? If at all, if someone comes and stumps on your leg, what immediately you do? You have to communicate either by screaming or touching the person, or by one way or the other you communicate to the other person to show that you are in trouble. So That's why we say that communication can solve almost all our problems. And I told you that every paper, the first thing that you should get clear is your curriculum for that topic. And I'm sure in the previous session we have discussed detailedly the curriculum for research aptitude. Now let us see what is the curriculum or the syllabus for communication skills. Now you might have broadly heard communication, mass communication, and ma'am was also introducing that I am from mass communication background. But let me tell you here, in paper one, what kind of communication what we focus is based on this syllabus, especially in a teacher's life is full of communication, right? So teaching we mainly focus on classroom communication. That's what is happening over here. And the syllabus begins with communication. What is communication? The meaning, the types, the characteristics of communication, and effective communication. What do we mean by becoming an effective communicator? Because all teachers needs to be effective communicators. Even the teachers are also indulged in a lot of verbal and non-verbal communication. Accidentally, just before talking this, just scratched my nose. That's another form of non-verbal communication. So as teachers, we all often get indulged in both verbal and non-verbal communication, intercultural and group communication, because we have students who come from different class, culture, different economic background. So we have an intercultural and group communication that takes place. And but when there is communication, definitely classroom communication, I already mentioned to you, when there is communication, definitely there will be barriers of communication. Now today I will be discussing in the discussing mainly a communication barrier that can take place from a teacher's point of view. But no, you should also understand that communication barrier can be from the both the sender side as well as from the receiver side. It can also be possible from the medium side as well. I think the previous session ma'am was apologized. I just heard ma'am apologizing to you about the audio quality. So that was the medium barrier, not the sender's barrier or the receiver's barrier. Both the sender and the receiver were really energetic in the previous session, I am sure. But what happened was just based on the medium barrier. Okay, so we'll also be discussing something about the barriers of communication. And definitely yes, mass media and society. With society is all about communication, and mass media is considered to be an integral part of communication. So this is what the syllabus, when you talk about paper one, communication skills or communication aptitude, whatever you call it as, or classroom communication. Okay, so these are the overall view you should be having. And just to start with what is communication, let me tell you, there are a lot of definitions that you might come across. But one popular one which can give you an overall understanding of what is communication is an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by two or more people. Now, definitely, a lot of media houses exist across the globe. From if you look back to the history, from the cave paintings to all other forms of communication exist based on people want factual information. So facts is an integral part of communication. Second, what do we share? Communication is between two or more people. That's what this definition talks about. So it can be ideas that we share all about. And I'm sure who can forget the popular idea, a tagline, an idea can change the world, right? So, or life. Okay, so when you talk about a communication, it can be ideas. We all share a lot of ideas. So then it can be opinions. You know what? I sometimes wonder if you step into a classroom and if you ask students uh, an opinion, most often you might have you might have got a lot of opinions, and students are so eager to share their opinions with us. So there is no end to people sharing opinions. So definitely yes. And emotions, we all share our emotions, whether it is happiness, whether it is sorrow, whether it is any other form of emotions that you want to share. Yes, of course, love as well, we share our emotions through communication. So this is what the popular definition which describes communication, and there are many other definitions which you can look further. So communication is an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by two or more people. Now, we all should ask ourselves, okay, why should we communicate? You are working in an organization, or you are a student, or you're working in a company, or you're within at home, within your family itself. We should ask ourselves, why should I communicate? Certain times we decide to close our mouth and sit, yes or no? But by closing our mouth and sitting, that itself is another form of communication. That's what you should understand. Okay, so when I said this, I should also tell you that can you all live without communicating, even for a minute? I'll give you 1 minute time. Can you just sit without communicating? I do not know what are the answers. I wish if I could hear you all. Okay. You know what? Actually, it is not possible for us to sit without communicating for even a minute. The moment I stopped talking, there may be someone who read the slides on the on the points on the PPT. There may be someone, if you're sitting near a window, who might have looked at the through the window outside and might have uh, even asked yourself, is it going to rain? Okay. There may be someone who might have had an eye contact with somebody else. Don't step into my room, I am listening to a session. So different forms of communication that might have happened, whether internally or outside. So it is not possible for us not to to remain without communicating, because it is integral part of our life. Okay, now often we need to ask ourselves, why should we communicate? Now if it's an organization, definitely you should communicate, because it's for the smooth working. Now I have seen people, especially you're all going to clear net and you're going to get into the teaching profession. But in the big initial years of teaching career, I have noticed people don't communicate what they want to communicate, and they struggle in their working atmosphere. So maybe based on various situations. Now from my few years of work experience, I must tell you that whenever there was a requirement for me to communicate, I communicated, and my life was smoother, happier, and it was just fun. Okay, so this is what you need to understand. In the right pace, in the right pitch, in the right with the right attitude, if you communicate, you will have a smooth working. Okay, another one, a proper communication can definitely help you with better decision making. Okay, now if at all you are a team leader, you were a team leader in your school or colleges, you might have understood that we all love the leader who take all our opinions and then finally take a decision, yes or no? So, and if at all one of your opinion was taken by the leader, you feel so happy that what I said he or she picked. So definitely communication leads us into better decision making, whether it is work life or in your family. You please, okay, check this. Often when we were children, our parents had an issue that we took decisions by ourselves, but we didn't communicate to our parents. So if at all you had told your father or mother, you want to do like this, or you want, even now, if we are elders, if you go and still tell our parents, can I take a decision like this, they'll be very happy, because that's what the power of communication, and that is how it will help you to make better decisions, which makes everybody feels happy. And then to increase cooperation and organizational peace, at the right time, the right communication definitely brings good cooperation and organizational peace. Now if you're working in a team, and there may be people in your college life, or in your at home, or in your in your work life as an academician or any other profession, definitely you might have sat and grumbled that that person is not cooperative, I don't have a peaceful atmosphere. If at all such kind of conversations are there, try evaluating your communication. Definitely that's going to make a change. Now the basis of coordination. Now definitely if you have organized an event, you will be able to understand this, how much amount of coordination is required, and how do you get this coordination done? It is with the right kind of communication, and it is definitely going to increase managerial efficiency. The more right information you have, your managerial efficiency is going to be better. So these are some of the benefits from a teacher's academic point of view, what I have said. It can be beyond that if you take it into different context. Now, every communication, when you talk about, you know, you should understand there are certain principles. Okay, the principles of communication. Now, as an academician, I am sure you're all going to be in a teaching field. And the other day, I broke the glass ceiling of research versus teaching. I'm sure you still remember what I said about research versus teaching. You know what? I will talk today only from a teacher's point of view, since I have broken the glass ceiling over there. Okay, so now as an academician, when you use communication, what you need to understand is that, now, the first and the foremost principle of communication is the choice of the word. Now, right, you know what? One small example I can tell you to explain this. You know, in college life, we all had this habit of calling everybody stupid, idiot. I'm sure all of you might have called your friends stupid, you idiot, come here. So these kind of conversations we might have had in our college life. Suddenly, you know, some of you are just finishing your college life, some of you have finished and you are getting into teaching. So you come to a classroom, and if you go and tell a child with that same attitude and with the same style where how you grew up in a college life, and comes in a classroom, and if you call a child stupid, idiot, sometimes without even you know, if without you knowing, the child might have cried day and night, and might have taken to heart by thinking that he or she is really an idiot or a stupid. But you know, you may not have intended the meaning. Okay, and you know, sometimes if the child comes back and tells you that, ma'am, it hurt me, or sir, it hurt me, then definitely you will tell, oh my god, I didn't intend anything, it is our college days style only. Correct. So, you know, the choice of the word, we have to be very careful. And you know what, when you talk about choice of the word, in your cultural context or in your religious context, something that is suitable may not be suitable for a larger crowd or a larger section. That also has to be kept in mind. Now, the intended, you know what, you know, as a communicator, what you need to understand is that your effectiveness is not measured by how much content did you deliver. Your effectiveness is not measured by how good vocabulary you used. Okay, and your effectiveness is measured what meaning that you intended to communicate to someone. Did the receiver get the exact meaning without any distortion? If that takes place, then I must tell you that you are a good communicator. Okay, now you can also check next time your effectiveness by evaluating in that manner. The second principle that you should know is the clarity of purpose. Now, the clarity of purpose, how do we convey is, you know, talk to the point. Now, I'm sure you all might have had one teacher somewhere in lifetime. Okay, even I had, okay, I can't tell the name, but I'm sure now some of you are smiling by thinking about that person who used to beat around the bush. If he is supposed to talk about Delhi, he might or she might start about catching of a train from Bangalore, and how many railway stations the train stopped, and then might end up, and then might go to other states, and then finally end up in Delhi. So are you a teacher going to be like that? No. People want you to talk to the point. So the clarity of purpose, you should know why you are communicating and talk to the point. And then listen intelligently. This is something very important. You know what? As an academician in the beginning of my career, I made a mistake in this level. Okay. So that's why you know, you're all going to start your academic career. There may be probability that you also make the same mistake. Now listen intelligently, and you know, most of us listen to people emotionally. Now, you know, I cannot forget one colleague of mine who corrected me and told me to think or listen intelligently. Now, in the first year of my teaching career, you know, I don't know, somehow students used to come and share a lot of problems with me, and you know, some might come and tell, you know, their father and mother were fighting in previous night, and they have all kind of rona dona and all such kind of things, and they'll be coming and sharing with you. Someone will come and tell you financial crisis, someone will come and tell you their breakup, and then to an extent there may be cases where they will come and tell you their other issues. Now if you're a person who is sitting and listening to them emotionally, whole day and night you'll be worried about what they are talking. Even I had this problem. And you know, uh, after 6 months of my teaching, I had lost my weight so much. And that colleague of mine called me and asked, why you're losing so much of weight? Then I told, I'm not able to solve all those things. So immediately what he told, Juby, that is where you should understand, listen intelligently, not emotionally. Why this child is coming and sharing with you the things, not because you need to solve, or you are someone extraordinary to solve all those problems. They need somebody to listen to them, and they just want to share their experience. Give a good ear to them intelligently. So you know what, this is a very good principle that teachers has to develop. We may not be able to solve. So when you are not able to solve, we should not be running away from such kind of situations. Listen to them intelligently, give them the comfort, the energy. That's what we are supposed to give. Okay, the next one, selection of proper medium. Now in India right now, there is a huge debate about, because of this lockdown and COVID-19, should there should be an online class or should not be there is an online class, should they be suspending the semester or should they be canceling the exam. Now why this confusion that takes place? Because there is there is a huge decision that they have to take based on the medium. So you know what, certain things you can verbally tell, certain things you have to write and give, certain things you can use both audio visual medium. So as a teacher, we have to decide what is the appropriate medium to communicate. A mathematic teacher cannot sit and talk like the way I am talking now. You might be having logic and reasoning class or some other class. You can evaluate the way I'm sitting and talking, this medium might be suitable. But a mathematics teacher comes and sits and talks to you like this, the medium may not be that suitable. So you need to understand this, and selection of proper medium is essential. Now appropriate timing. Now how much do you feel bad if at all, I don't know how many of you travel by bus, if you miss the bus, you feel bad, right? You might have got up at 5 a.m., rushed to the bus stand, and the bus is missing. You will feel hurt. Similarly, when the communication does not reach on time, it doesn't have any significance. You might have told people, I know once upon a time I heard about one teacher like that. Okay, you give any work to that person will never communicate on time that he or she is available or not available. On just 10 minutes before or 15 minutes before, somebody comes tells you that I am not available, handle it, can you handle it? It won't be possible. So communicate on time, people will judge you based on that. Then obtaining feedback is very essential in communication. And you should never be afraid of taking feedback. I often gratefully remember the first 3 batches of my students. They used to, if my dress is not proper, they used to come and tell me, ma'am, the dress is not proper. If my pronunciation of a particular word is not, if you're open, you can change yourself. The first few batches of students will transform you to a better teacher. That's what, give an ear to the feedback of your colleagues, feedback of your students, feedback of the management whom you are associated with. Definitely all these feedbacks will groom you to a better communication and communicator. And the other aspects in the syllabus is types of communication. Now we won't be detailing going with all the types of communication because we have to solve some questions as well. Okay, now what you need to understand is that the types of communication can be classified into 3 different sections. One is communication based on the parties involved. So from an institution point of view, we call it as internal communication and external communication. So any stakeholder who is within the organization, what they communicate comes under internal communication. And for example, right now I am talking to people who are not belonging to Christ Jayanti College, then now it becomes an external communication. Whereas if this session was going to be for an internal in-house faculty, then it will be an internal communication. So based on the category of or parties of people who are involved, we can classify them into internal and external. And of course, that internal communication can be both vertical and horizontal. And communication based on the formality, definitely you call them as formal and informal communication. Now, informal communication, one interesting thing I want to tell you is that do not underestimate your institutions. Okay, now, you know what? There is a concept called grapevine communication. The best way to disseminate information is through the grapevine communication. The best way to accumulate information is grapevine communication. Now, what is grapevine communication? I have seen a question in the net examination based on grapevine communication. You know, they'll give a list of communication and they'll ask which among this is not a grapevine communication, the gossips, the other kind of sharing, informal way of sharing information from A to B, B to C. Now, such kind of communication is what we, you know, what the actual kind of information in a very speedy manner gets spread in an institution from, you know, even among the students, you should notice this. You know, that is the another big, strong form of communication. Then other types, we will discuss in detail. Okay. And so when you talk about communication, the first type of communication that you should remember is intrapersonal communication. And I am sure we are all masters of intrapersonal communication, because this intrapersonal communication is something that takes place within us. Now, if I pause here for another 1 minute, all of us will have some or the other form of interpersonal communication. Maybe about the tea you had, maybe about just now when I said about the tea, you may not have had a cup of tea, you might communicate about that. So such kind of communication is what we call it as intrapersonal communication. That's a first level of communication, and that is very beautiful. You should understand this. Okay, it involves our thoughts, feelings, and the way we look at ourselves. Now, when if you can understand the actual process of communication, you can actually transform yourself into a better person. That's what you need to understand. Okay. Now, you know we think certain things about a person who is sitting beside you, a person whom you work with, maybe your own life partner. There are so many intrapersonal communication that takes place within our mind. Now, there are three factors that are contributing this thought process. Now, and this thought process is what determines your happiness and your sorrow. Okay, that's why I said if you are able to understand this concept well, you can have a fruitful, happy life ahead. So, the three contributing factors of your intrapersonal communications are your past experience. You know what? I love teaching profession because I was a pampered child of all my teachers, and I still pamper all my students the way my teachers pampered me. If you walk into any of the institutions where I studied, they will talk very good about me. Same way, any of the students whom I taught, I talk very good about them because of past experience that has formed a lot of internal communication in my head. So if that is where you have to be very critically thinking when you go and talk some phenomenon in a classroom. Okay, you have to think very critically, because immediately, a student who is sitting in front of you has studied mass communication or communication. They'll immediately judge you based on, ma'am or sir had some past experience. That's why he or she is thinking like that. Our thinking is shaped based on our past experience. So you have to, sometimes, I admit, I understand that everything in our past experience cannot be positive. There can be negative as well, but how do we transform it is what we need. There is a thought process which can help you transform that. Okay, the second contributory factor is the reference groups that we identify with. I'm sure all of us, when we were going to school, your father or mother might have scolded you once at least. Why are you going with that group of people? Your friends are not good, so you shouldn't be going with that guy or that girl. There may be someone who said that with you. Some are still smiling, maybe. Okay. So why do they say that? Because the reference groups that you're associated with, they can influence you. Now, if you are in an institution where you are you are in a circle of people who talk only ill about your institution, you tend to think negatively about your institution. But you're with a group of people who think only positive and talk only positive about the institution, you will have a positive vibe around you when you work in the company. So you know what, your internal process, it may not be problem with the institution, or it may not be problem with the students who teach. It might be problem with the, you know what, I never discuss about any of the teachers, anything about other teachers with my students, neither about one student from another student. I don't try to gather information, because the reference groups can have a huge influence on your intrapersonal communication. The next one is the role we play in our life. Now each one of us have a role to play in our life. Okay, now this is an interesting question. If you put it in a national level, okay, each one of us as citizen has a role to play in a country. But if you often look at the government by saying somebody sitting with a big um, uh, you know somebody sitting over there to help all of us. Now, how often do we ask ourselves, what is my role as a citizen to the country? What can I contribute to the country rather than what the government of India did for us? Similarly, in the family, you can ask this question. If you know your role very well, you will not have conflicts within the family. Now, if you know your role well, you will play that role, you will not play someone else's role. Now, when you don't play your role and you try to play someone else's role, again it will become an issue. So these are all certain things that are some of the contributory factors of our communication process. Now, when you talk about intrapersonal communication, there are three types of intrapersonal communication. Now, these names you have to be familiar with, because in the net exam, there might be a question. They'll give four types of communication and they will ask you to find out what is not a form of intrapersonal communication. Now, what is not a, so instead, along with this, they might put group communication. Then what is not, you can immediately identify that group communication is not an intrapersonal communication, because first level, intrapersonal communication takes place within ourselves. So there is no group involved. The second level, what are the three types of intrapersonal communication, so you will easily be able to judge it. So the three types of intrapersonal communication. The first one is internal discourse. Internal discourse is all about our thinking, our concentration. There may be people who meditate, there may be people who pray. Now, prayer also can be other way group communication, but here what we are talking about, praying only by yourself. Okay, the concentration, the thinking, the prayer, the meditation, and all are called internal discourse. This is very much important for us. Okay, then another type of intrapersonal communication is the solo vocal. A solo vocal is speaking to oneself. And recently, one lady told me, okay, I live in an apartment, so I get to meet a lot of ladies and I enjoy their conversations, because as a communication professional, what we do, we start judging based on that, right? Okay, so one lady recently told me her mother-in-law is 60 plus and she has so much of this solo vocal. Mother-in-law will keep grumbling about all her children, her husband who has died and gone several years back. Even now she grumbles. Okay, so similarly, the solo vocal, we all have this kind of solo vocal communication, speaking to oneself. And you know what, if it is clarifying, very good. But if it's so much of complaining, you tend to become a negative person. So you ask yourself, am I a complaint box in my solo vocal communication? If you're a complaint box, please do stop it from today. If you're a clarifier, oh, why this happened, how can it be rectified, that kind of solo vocal is going to fetch you to a better career, better life. Okay, the last one is solo written. Right, there can be a different form of writing that takes place, but solo written is something like, I still remember my high school days. We had this habit of writing diary, right? Those diaries, I'm sure some of you might be having it even now. That's the best example of solo written. This writing is not intended to others. It's only for my satisfaction. So whatever comes to my mind, I write and keep. So these are some of the three different types of intrapersonal communication. The second type of communication, the first one is intrapersonal communication. The second one is interpersonal communication. Now here you have to remember another word that is called dyadic communication. Now I have again seen this question in the net previous year net examination. Which among the following is a dyadic communication? Now they might have given group communication, interpersonal communication, interpersonal communication. Now if you know that interpersonal communications another name is dyadic, you will be able to immediately able to tick it in the exam. Okay, so please do remember interpersonal communication takes place between two people, and the word two is what we call it as the dyadic. An example of interpersonal communication is face-to-face communication or communication that takes place between two people. Now, what are the things that are associated with this communication between the two people is it involves the mutual ideas, the thoughts, the behaviors, the like and dislikes and queries and answers. Now, you like to talk to someone based on all of these factors, and you should understand and respect that. Okay, and the next type of communication is group communication. Now, in group communication, you can again classify them into four other categories. The first one is wheel communication. Now, if you from the word wheel and circle, you want to know the difference, right? Now, in wheel communication, what happens here is that a person A talk to person B, talk to person C, talk to person D. In that manner, the communication takes place. Chain communication, person A talks to person B and person B to C, it goes on. And most often in your, am I audible? Admin? I just assume that things are fine because I didn't get a response. Let me continue. Whereas in circle, what happens, it might, in the chain, it might be a hierarchical level or something, but in circle, what happens, A to B, B to C, C to D, it goes. Now, when it comes to online media, what happens is, okay, in online media, A can give the information to B as well as C. C can give the information A as well as D. So in that manner, the exact manner, the communication goes. So group communication can takes place in all of these formats. When you talk about in a classroom, we definitely will have a group communication. So there are few components that you should be keeping in your mind. That is, in every group communication, the goal, there should be a goal or a purpose. In every group is formed for a purpose or a goal. Okay, so that has to be met. So you should be very clear when you are with a group. Right now, I am with a group of net aspirants, people who want to crack net or GRF and have a career in teaching. So, you know what, right now, this group has a purpose, a goal. That's why we are all happy to be together. And you know what, after the goal, another aspect is working. Working is the physical or mental effort you use when trying to accomplish something. And then you have your interdependence. You know what, please, understand that in a group you are dependent on each other. You cannot do things only by yourself, so you're dependent on each other. You know what, when you are working with a group, understand it is like a chain which is connected to each other. If one member in the team thinks that I am not dependent on the other, the group does not work the way it should effectively work. The next one is interaction. Certain people I have seen, sometimes students or someone outside also, you might have seen, they decide they will not talk, or they will so there won't be less interaction. Some people over dominate. So that interaction aspects also you have to be very careful when you talk about and you should respect every member in the team. In a group communication, the moment you respect every member in the team, you know definitely you will be respected. And these are some of the components of a group communication that you should keep in mind. And the next one is mass communication. Now I'm not going in depth with mass communication, which because you all know, but I will tell you how some pattern of questions of course from here. Now mass communication is about all forms of communication. Mass here we mean communicating to large number of people. Mass means the volume of people. Okay. Now any media that take newspaper, television, radio, blog, social media, internet, so not microphone, phone, or anything that you take, all comes as part and parcel of it. Now, a major area that you should also focus is verbal and non-verbal communication. This is very important for a teacher to know both verbal and non-verbal communication, because there are different category of people that we are going to talk to, that I will come later stage. But those who are first time hearing verbal and non-verbal communication, okay, verbal communication is the exchange of information by words, whereas non-verbal communication is the exchange of information by wordless cues. Any actions that you show or any other forms, it can be non-verbal. Now verbal communication has less chance of confusion, because I'm just directly talking to you on your face, so it will have less chance of misunderstanding. Whereas non-verbal, you know what, often my PhD guide uses not scolding as such, but he often used to tell me, open your mouth and talk, because when he asks something, I either do like this or do like this. And in my culture, people will understand what is the meaning. But it moves to another state or other community, the meaning varies. Maybe some people consider this as yes and this as no. The other way around, this maybe it can happen. Okay, so this confusion occurs in non-verbal, but in verbal, it is much more clear. Then verbal communication leads to prompt interchange of information, whereas non-verbal communication can take time. More than all of these things, what I have seen in the examination, questions pertaining to this. Okay. Now there are different types of verbal and non-verbal communication. The first type of first let us see verbal communication. Verbal can be both oral and written. Oral is all about speaking and listening. Written is about writing and reading. As an educator, as a teacher, you are practicing all of these. Okay. And when it comes to non-verbal, as a teacher, you're also going to use all of these. Okay. So there are different non-verbal communication that are associated. As a teacher, you have to, don't think that if your English language is good or your Hindi is good, you are a great teacher and you also have some content. No, students might measure you or judge you based on all of these parameters. That's why we are discussing all of these things. Now your facial expressions can be an integral part of your non-verbal communication. There were students who said, the moment the way I look at them, they will understand whether I am angry or upset with what they are doing. So immediately they will change. Okay. So the facial expressions, people will judge. In one of my feedback forms, the key highlight that I get as an academician is the smile. The students write to me by saying that you have a beautiful smile, you feel good, right? So you have to go with a smile to the classroom. Even after a scolding, if you can smile at them, you're going to be a different teacher to them. You can't walk with a big face all the time in front of your children. So the facial expression as an academician has a vital role. Your justice, it can be both positive as well as negative. You have to be very careful. Your body language, we have to be very careful. And proximity is very important. Now among the young academicians, I have noticed this. Okay. Being friendly with students or in a student friendly atmosphere, people misunderstand this concept. Now there is a physical proximity here we mean the distance. Okay. Now there should be every time a teacher, whether however friendly you are, however you want to show that you are a student friendly teacher, you have to maintain your physical proximity. Otherwise, other students can judge you, the students community can judge you, other colleagues of yours can judge you. So proximity has a vital role to play. Now it is not, there may be a consideration you can decide by yourself where should you put a stop to it. So people will respect you when you can able to maintain that physical proximity. So this is part and parcel of your non-verbal communication. Your touch has got a vital role to play. Okay, I'm not telling you that you all the time go and touch your students. You will be in trouble, especially male teachers. If you go and touch the female students in the class, you will have tough time. Being a female, I'll tell you that I will not know how I will react. So do with the students. But touch has its own significance. Now I feel sad, when you know and I don't know how many of you believe that even now I am a teacher who gives pinches and beating the students, and my students does not complain about it so far, but it's a very risky thing. Okay, but touch has its own impact. You know what? Once if you even if you don't make them feel painful about it, even an action of yours can be made that mistake of them remembered. I am so sad about people as a communicator's point of view. Touch has a significance in creating lasting memories in the minds, so that I'm not asking you to practice it, but understand it and know it. Okay, the personal appearance, how do you appear, that has a vital role to play as an academician. Definitely silence is the biggest weapon. Now, you know if at the right time, if you are silent, even that your students can understand. Okay, sometimes need not to shout at them, need not to scream at them, need not to say anything. You be this. People think that silence has no meaning, but silence has greater meaning. Even in your marital life or in your personal life with parents, if you evaluate those times when you decide to not to talk to anyone, that is the time all will come in running in search of you. So do remember to practice silence as well when you are in your teaching profession. Now, I know often students and people come and ask me how to improve my communication skills. I can't go in detail. Okay, but because I think, okay, we still have time, no problem. Okay, so how to improve my communication skill is something that everyone asks. And there are people who think that within 30 days a language can be learned, so your communication gets improved. No, now I believe that it is a long process, but you need to work on various aspects. It's not only the language that you need to work on. Okay, now only a good listener can become a good communicator. Now I have been talking to you for 1 hour. How much information you were paying attention to what I am talking? If you were able to pay attention to word by word what I said, let me tell you, you are a great communicator. So the listening is, the greater the listening skills that you have, greater the communication skills that you'll have. Now, one small, the philosophy associated with elder, I'll tell you now. I would love to listen to anybody who comes on stage and speaks, or who comes in public speaking, because when that one person speaking for 1 hour, he or she is sharing his or her experience of lifetime. Maybe they might have read 300 to 400 books in their lifespan, and all what they have accumulated from all that book is being shared to you. So by sitting and listening to a person for 1 hour or 2 hour, I am grabbing all of that. I again repeat the word: buy one get 10 free, get 20 free, if you are actually listening to someone for an hour or two. And I often tell my students this tip: if at all you think that you are not a good reader, be a good listener. Learn what others have read and then share. Now, when you have not listened to others and when you have not read anything, you won't have anything to communicate to others. So, this is what you need to keep in mind. Be a good listener if you're not a good reader. So, listening will definitely improve your communication skill. And no, and also when you listen carefully, you will be able to answer them back in a precise and a concrete manner. And then conciseness is another important thing. We should be able to talk concisely. Body language I already spoke about. This is next one is confidence. Now, confidence comes from various levels that you need to understand. One factor is depth of knowledge. Now, in a job interview, I still remember in my postgraduate examination, the exams which I stepped into when I went to an exam hall, if the syllabus was completely studied, I was so confident in the exam. Whereas if I had missed out one or two topics, I had this worry, will that topic come or not? So, from there, I have understood that, if the level of knowledge you have about the subject is what is going to give you the confidence. So, if you're going to talk about a topic to your students for 1 hour, definitely have the depth of knowledge that will immediately give you confidence. And, the confidence is also associated with your dressing, with the, knowledge about the audience. Just blindly walk into any group of people to talk without knowing the audience. If you have a knowledge about the category of audience, which background they come up, you'll that will definitely boost your confidence. And sometimes that might make you nervous also. Okay, I should say that. Okay, now when it comes, and to always communicate with people with an open mind. you know I, with my students, I always tell, when we organize debate or discussion, learn to respect others opinion, that is their opinion. If you have this open mindedness, you will not have this hurt feeling. I have seen group of people arguing and discussing and debating, very rudely. And when they come out, especially among journalism, we will see this. Okay, and when they come out of that hall, they will be drinking tea together. Because, and I often ask them, how come, how is it possible? They told, what we spoke over there was our opinion. Now what we have is our personal relation. So, that kind of open mindedness will definitely make you a better communication professional or a better teacher. And respect, you talk to people, all, even a beggar on street has tremendous knowledge. The beggar knows the city better than you. You may not be knowing the city the way the beggar knows. Okay, so respect. Every human being has knowledge, and that kind of respect will, transform your mentality towards the way you communicate, towards the people whom you communicate, and the way you communicate. Use the correct medium, you already said. And when you talk about the process of communication, this is the diagram that we commonly use. There are two ways, that the horizontal way of looking at it, as well as a circular model also is there. Okay, now this is a popular model which I can just briefly explain you. Sender in a classroom becomes the teacher. What does the teacher first does is, decide and process in the mind what to communicate. That is what we call it as encoding. Now you encode what the message, what to communicate to the student, and then you decide, which medium you communicate. I will take a lecture, or I will take a PPT, or I am going to take the students out under the banyan tree, or so, and then show them the plants and demonstrate and teach them. So, that is another important factor. And, the sender encode the message through a medium, you send it to the audience. And what happens to the audience level? The audience level, they decode the message, they process the message, and they take, and when this happens, one of the phenomenon you should remember is selective listening and selective perception. Sometimes when I am talking to you, you might take only what you want, you might omit what you don't want. So that also can happen. Okay, so, and then the audience will give you a feedback, and then the communication goes again. Now, when you talk about the characteristics of communication, another topic in the syllabus is characteristics of communication. Now, effective communication should have all these characteristics. The message must be clear, and always try to give correct information. And you know what? I had a teacher who taught me when I became a teacher. Okay, she told me one thing: if you know the answer, say the answer. If you do not know the answer, tell, I will check and come back to you. Don't feel afraid. And and do remember, if at all you have said that, check and give the answer properly. Do not bluff them. There itself, you as a communicator has failed. Okay, so as much as possible, give correct information. and try to give complete information. Partial information can be very dangerous. Now, one example I can give you, there was a picture of some, I'm sorry, I didn't bring the picture. Some Buddhist monks wearing the Buddhist dress was lifting some Muslim dead people who were in Muslim attire. They lifted the dead bodies and they were burying. Okay. Now a big news spread. Somebody put a caption: the Buddhist monks carrying the Muslim people's dead bodies. This was the caption. And you know what? A few years back, all students from northeastern region in Bangalore went back to northeast because there was a riot between the Chinese looking people and the Muslim community. And you know what? Actual incident was all about, actually, there after a calamity or something, a huge number of people died and the monks were trying to bury the dead bodies. They were actually doing a good thing, but a half or incomplete message has led into a big national wide communal riot. So you have to be very careful in giving complete information. Be precise. Reliability is important. Consideration of the recipient. As a teacher, we need to have this consideration to the recipients. Now, as the effectiveness of you as a teacher can be measured if the weakest child in your class can understand what you're talking, and then definitely send us courtesy. These are some of the characteristics. And when I talk about characteristics, when you move to an academic setup to a business setup, the characteristic may vary. Maybe in the form of, like here you will see, in a business setup, the characteristics can be: communication should be very organized, it should be task oriented, and it should be persuasive. That is the change that you will see. Okay. Now the last topic in the syllabus was media and not last, second last was media and society. Classroom communication we haven't started. Now, media and society, media has got a vital role to play in society, and definitely it can influence. Now, can you all just look at this picture? Look carefully. I have something to ask you after that. That's why. Everything in detail. Okay. And can you just try to figure it out? What is he doing and what is he? I know the chat box might be blocked. Singing, singing, singing. Good. What song can you tell? Some people are appreciating. I'm thankful to you for appreciating right now. Please answer. After that appreciation at the end, I will take. Singing but not getting feedback from audience. Okay, maybe Western song. Okay, at least you have figured it out. Expressing through thought by singing. Okay, Anushri is saying it's pop. Okay, now I'll give you another picture. I loved your active participation. Okay, I'm just in love with you all. Okay, the second, another picture I'll show you. Look at this picture. Now give me answer. Singing emotional song, rap, very good. Cool attitude, very good. It's rap. Now, singing with eye contact with audience, very good. All right. Now, both were a rap. Okay. Now, both were telecasted in a television channel or in an online platform. Now, how many of your students adopt which one of this? Tell me. How many of your students comes on the stage or comes to college by wearing a full sleeve shirt? I'm not being gender biased here. I'm sorry. Okay, and I have just taken this as an example. It can be applicable to female as well. Okay, how many, both are the same context. Okay, and how many of your students will come? Now this picture I'll name it as 1, this picture I'll name it as 2. So just message me 1 or 2.
Participants, if anybody wants to speak,
No,
you
they are
can
messaging
raise.
me, no problem.
That's okay, is it, ma'am?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's fine. Because I have some more to go.
Okay.
They said 2, 1, 1. 1, very rare, ma'am. Okay. Now, most often, no, 1. Okay. This Anushri is a student or what? She's very accurate with her answers. That's why. Okay. If you're a student, you can mention that so that the participants also can relate to you. Okay. Now, this shows the influence. You know what? The attire, the jewelry, the watch, the hairstyle. Some students might be even questioning you why I should shave. Okay, don't be afraid because they are influenced by the media. Now, another interesting thing is waiting for you. Okay, now one thing when you talk about media, what you need to understand is media can have both positive and negative impact. And there's a popular concept called GIGO. I don't know how many of you have heard this, okay? And sometimes you can, if you understand this concept well, you laugh loud, okay? Now, what this principle of GIGO says is garbage in and garbage out. Now, as an individual, if I put garbage into my mind, I will only put garbage out. As an individual, if I put nonsense data into myself, okay, I will only put nonsense out. I will only have nonsense output. So same with, what message do you get from the media shapes your thinking. Okay, and then that's what you will be giving. So try to get, there is a sector self called, I'm not saying all media are bad, no. Based on the audience taste, media serves. Based on the audience demands, media serves. That's what you need to understand. Okay, now when it comes to, now this is a game I want everybody to play. If you want to open the mic and talk to me also, you are free to do that. This is very important for all your participation. Just tell me what letter is missing. Go on. Someone said O. Someone said I. Go on. I'm waiting. O or I. Very good. A. Others, I'm waiting for your answer. We have to solve questions. All the three, somebody is saying O, L, A. Is it L or I? A. O. Okay. Now, thank you. Thank you for the answers. Now, when we talk about this concept, what you need to understand is, okay, all those who said yeah, I don't blame you, because a lot of rape stories we are reading from the newspaper. So what you accumulated from there is there in your mind. That's why suddenly you related it to the word yeah, rape. Somebody who was so much about reading about rope, maybe rope, right? Anything associated with rope, you might have immediately thought someone who is craving for a fruit. Okay, and they might be eagerly waiting when the banana in their house will get ripe. Okay, that's why they immediately said ri. Now it has nothing to do with you as an individual. What I am trying to tell you is that what communication was happening around you is what immediately recognized you with the word what you associated with. Okay, now, what does it matter when it comes out? Uh, okay, forget. Now it's our turn to step up with positivity. Okay, media has an effect on our brain. So what you need to do is you need to understand the certain factors associated with the media literacy. Okay, the first one, every individual should understand that messages are constructed. Right now, what I'm talking to you, every word is being constructed. Messages are constructed. Okay, so when you build a building, there can be error in the building construction, right? So do with the message construction. Now using own language, so people will be, you know what, the translation of holy scriptures from one language to another language and to another language, as it gets changed, the meaning get distorted. Why? Because usage of own language. Then each individual has different experience. The way I think, none of you can think. The way you all think, I can never think. Okay, so each of us have come from a different experience, different background. So each of us are unique and each of us are the best. Okay, then embedded values and viewpoints. We all have embedded values and viewpoints. Okay, even the media has embedded values and viewpoint. An organization to gain profit or power. Now media organizations sometimes give some information to gain profit or to gain power. So when you have this clear conscience in your mind, whatever comes from the media, you will be critically analyzing and imbibing what you require. Now comes to classroom communication. This is very important. Okay, this is a chart which says average retention rates after 24 hours. Now if you were a teacher who was taking only lectures, your students will remember only 5% of what you taught in the class. And do remember, if you are a teacher who took only lectures throughout a semester, your students retention capacity is reduced into that much. And you were reading, as the students were reading as well as along with all those things, then it comes 10%. What you acquire from the audio visual is 20%. Demonstration has got little more higher, that is 30%. Discussion in a group is 50%. Now if you're an undergraduate teacher or you are in an undergraduate classroom where 60-50 people and all are there, you cannot have discussions in the classroom, but you know that it can have a retention of 50%. I would suggest you to open up an online discussion forum where students can discuss. Now, in our classes, we have these WhatsApp group discussions. We put something on that side, this side, and we have the habit of playing quiz and all. Okay, so this kind of discussions can make things remember for 50. You can balance it in another way. Then practice by doing 75%. Now I have given students an assignment to go to the field and do some campaigns. Every batch, whenever they come back, they will ask me, "Ma'am, do you remember that village we visited? Do you remember that campaign that we did?" So the teacher, if you want to have a lasting impact of the message that you give in the minds of the students, make them practice by doing. So the retention capacity is 75%. And I must tell you, I learned most of the things by teaching others. So the knowledge I had when I was a student was this much. Now by teaching it has increased. I'm sure over the years when I teach more, it's going to be much more. So encourage your students also to teach. Now if you are teaching in a postgraduate level, and encourage those students to go and teach in undergraduate or in a school or somewhere. So when they start teaching, okay, someone even peer teaching, they can do. So if you encourage that, this is going to make a difference. And when you step into a classroom, you need to understand you have to satisfy different category of people who are sitting in front of you. Everybody is not the same. Do not treat your students as same. Everybody is not the same. Someone verbal, and it is very challenging for the teacher to satisfy everybody's need. You need to understand, don't be afraid of one or two negative criticisms. It has to happen because you cannot satisfy all of these kind of learning style. So I can't go in detail, but I will just give, if at all you're interested to know in detail, once the session is over, I can stay back with you and explain. Otherwise I'll just give you some idea. Okay, some students are oriented towards verbal. Whatever they hear, it will remember. Some students will be like, whatever they see, they will remember. Some students will be musical or auditory. Some students will be when they do it with hands, or when they have some hands-on experience, they will remember. Some will be a combination of many. Okay, I feel I am a combination of many. Many things works with me, so you can also evaluate yourself. Okay, and then some people, when they socialize, they learn more. Some people logical and mathematical, some may be very weak over there. Okay, so you need to understand, when you are stepping into a classroom, these are the variety of pieces that are sitting in front of. Try to serve everybody's learning style. Okay, now when it comes to communication in a, when you talk about communication, we have to talk about barriers. Okay, whenever there is a communication, there should be a barrier. Okay, now what the different types of barriers, I'll just quickly move on. Okay, the first one is semantic barrier. Now, semantic barrier here we mean, okay, some words, word, it's not world, it's word. Some word having different meaning. Now, in one particular context or one particular state, one word might have a particular meaning, but when you move to the other context, it will be another meaning. The next one is language barrier. Now, some teachers might had an accent issue, okay, in your old when you were a student. Okay, that might have been a barrier with you and your teacher. The same can happen with you and your students, so we have to understand and we have to respect that. Okay, and sometimes it can be your vocabulary, the way you say it and such kind of things. So language barrier is definitely an integral part. Now I want to tell you one thing when I say this. Okay, now in India, I have seen this interesting fact. The North Indians will look at the South Indians and laugh, saying that their language is like that. The South Indians will look at the North Indians and laugh. I often tell my students, every individual is influenced by their mother tongue. First of all, when you understand this concept, you will start respecting others. You will not make fun of others' accent and others' vocabulary. Okay, now if at all you try to give up that mother tongue influence, what you're trying to do is you're trying to fake the accent. That's what actually happening. And no, if I started talking like with a fake American accent right now in this session, you will not be able to relate to me. You will say that I come here to show off. Okay, so that kind of thinking comes. So better be with what you are, and better be with genuine people will accept you as genuine. You don't need to worry about that. Okay, it's not about the way you say it. It's all about what you say it and how you say it. That's what more important. Okay, so I hope I have boosted some of your confidence now. Okay, then organizational barrier. Definitely there can be some kind of organizational barriers in communication due to the gap between staff members and management. This is something that can happen to all of us when you are an academician. And sometimes organizational rules and regulations can become a barrier of your communication. Sometimes cooperation between superior and subordinate, organizational culture, status, and other layers. These are all other aspects of the organizational barrier. Interpersonal barrier is, I already told you in the first situation itself. Okay, the differences that are occurred in education, society, economic status between the sender and the receiver, that is what we call it as interpersonal barrier. Individual barrier is differences in personality, stereotyping, inattention, differences in individual competencies to think and act, all those comes under there. Then physical barriers are there. You know what? A huge noise or hearing problems, speech difficulties, closed doors, defective equipment, all those things can come under physical barriers. Now, psychological barriers are very important. As an academician, we can have psychological barrier. As a receiver, even students can have all of these barriers. When you understand this, teaching becomes, I told you in the first day itself, it's a cool profession, right? So, you won't get irritated or tensed or worried or angry with things, because this is like this. Okay, that's the logic behind it. So the psychological barrier, every human being cannot be 24/7 happy. Every human being cannot be 24/7 productive. If at all you are 24/7 happy and productive, something is wrong with you. We'll have a personal chat. Okay, so let me continue. Psychological barriers can be, it includes emotions, poor retention, lack of attention, different opinion, perceptions. All these are the psychological barriers that might have come across in your teaching learning process. Now, technological barrier, yes, morning session you had that, so you'll never forget what is technological barrier. Network issues, coding issues, defect in electronic equipment, all those games. Now, as an academician, you and me should understand there are some teacher-centered barriers in a classroom. Okay. Now, the first teacher-centered barrier in a classroom can be inadequate knowledge about the subject matter, which you and me have to work hard and get rid of it. The second teacher-centered barrier can be lack of confidence. You might have tremendous knowledge. Some of you sitting in front of me might be having a lot of knowledge about communication than me, okay? But you might be lacking confidence. So you need to work on confidence level to break that barrier. Now, it may be inadequate knowledge about the hidden agenda. Sometimes, there can be a hidden agenda and it can become a barrier. Okay. Some people might be doing certain things for their publicity, but you might end up knowing that towards the end. Okay. So these kind of things can happen. Lack of communication skill. Now, you all know communication skill is not only about the spoken communication we are talking about the overall communication skill, and sometimes it may be prejudices or bias. As an academician, you should never ever step into a classroom with a biased nature towards economic class. Okay, you will not be, and I would very be rude in telling you that you don't deserve to be an academician if you don't understand, if you have economic bias in your mind, if you have cultural bias or community bias. I know we are all born in certain communities, certain cultural background, but as a journalist we are trained how to come out of our community and cultural biasness, because we in our profession we cannot practice bias. I cannot write about against Hindutva, I cannot write against Islam, I cannot write about Christianity, against Christianity. Whatever background we come from, we need to get cut off the moment you step into a classroom. So prejudice and bias is another, if at all you are practicing, let me tell you, you are 50% less academician, and students will judge you based on that. And your political ideologies also should never ever bring into your classrooms, because I have seen even in the 21st century, when I went to North India, people remove their chappal when they get into classroom. They think that is a holy place where only accurate, credible information that's been shared. So I have seen such kind of practices even now. Okay, incorrect perception about him or her and about the world. If we have a wrong perception about the world, if it's a correct perception, no issues, we have to rectify that as well. Now let us begin our game. You might be waiting for this, right? Okay, so you can unmute yourself now, admin. Sonia ma'am. Participants, can you try unmuting and talking to me? Hello. All right, don't worry. You can chat in the box. I can see the answers. Okay, somebody already said answer. Charu said answer is 3. Okay, most often the teacher-student communication is, uh, uh, you know, it is definitely utilitarian. I think most of you are getting the right answer. Rashmi says the same answer. Okay. It cannot be critical. You cannot be all the time critical. Okay. You should not be confrontal as well. So the answer is very evident there. Okay. Thank you. The next question, we'll move a little quickly because we have only half an hour left. Classroom communication is the basis of. Classroom communication is the basis of I think all of you are giving me the right answer. I saw it from Ria, Rashmi ma'am, Jeffrey, Anushri, Geo, Samreen. Okay, you're right. You know, this is very important and a crucial point that you should keep in mind. A social identity of an individual is shaped in the classrooms. So, you know, you should always give that positive vibe to your children. Okay, your students, I mean. Okay. So the next question is, okay. The next question is attitudes, actions, and appearances in the context of classroom communication are considered as attitudes, actions, and appearances. I discussed in the session today. Yes. So all of you were with me today. I am so happy. Okay, it is non-verbal communication. Definitely attitudes, actions, and appearance cannot be verbal, if at all, unless and until if you speak it out. Otherwise, it cannot be verbal, and it cannot be impersonal and irrational. Definitely, the answer is non-verbal. Thank you. You were paying good attention. Okay, the next question is every type of communication is affected by its reception, transmission, non-regulation, or context. Can you try unmuting your mic and talking to me, because I want to know the logic behind it, at least for this
Ma'am,
question. Yes. Hello.
who should be unmuted, ma'am? Sorry.
Okay. I want you to unmute Jeffrey Justin.
Okay, 1 minute, ma'am.
Why do you think it's 4, sir? Hello.
Ma'am, the reason being because in a communication, if your content is not correct, right? Because most of the audience listen to a communication based on your content.
Sir,
So that's it.
content and context has different meaning.
Oh, sorry.
So it was a guesswork, sir.
No, I read it as content. That's why.
All right. So what do you think the answer is? Hello. Okay. Anushri, why do you think it's 2? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Transmission is very important. If we don't have a proper transmission, our message won't be getting to our other person. So transmission is very important in a communication.
So non-regulation and reception is not important. What do you think? Is it as well important?
Yeah, it's also important, but transmission should be proper, right? If you have the message won't be get to another person if transmission have any other
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Anybody else want to talk to me? Because this answer is wrong. So we have to get it cleared. Most of your options are wrong. That's why I need to get it cleared. Anybody else would like to open on your mic and talk? All 4 are important, but yes, Every type of communication is affected by one particular thing. That's what we are asking here. Okay, nobody. Dr. Vidya, why do you think it is context? Vidya ma'am?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
At what situation the person who is talking, speaking the particular communication, that is very important.
Good. Okay, I agree
Very
with the yes, ma'am. I agree with the Dr. Vidya. All the four are important, but context is more important. For example, we all communicate. There is reception, there is transmission, there is non-regulation when you are going for a funeral. But the context in with which you communicate is very important. Okay, the way you communicate in a funeral is different from a wedding. A funeral and a wedding is a different from a classroom. Okay, so that's why we say context here. Thank you. The next one, in a classroom, a communicator's stress level is determined by this is easy. Yes, so absolutely no confusion. Everybody says eye contact. So we will move to the next. Hello, am I audible? Somebody said no audio.
Yes,
That's
ma'am. You are audible.
okay.
You are audible.
Okay. So the next question is this. What are the barriers to effective communication? This is also simple. If you read carefully all the options, you can easily get it. What are the barriers of effective communication? Good. Majority have answered right, because here the distinction was very easy because all the other things were positive except the first one. Dialogue summary and self-review is something positive. Use of simple words, school reaction, all these are positive. Personal statement, eye contact, all are possible. Only what we can consider as barrier is moralizing, being judgmental. So it was very simple, very good. But you got it right. Okay. As a teacher, select the best option to ensure your effectiveness, effective presence in the classroom. How do you ensure your best effective presence in the classroom? The same thinking pattern of the previous question you will get. Only one person have answered. Use of peer command. Others? Now I will request you to read carefully. Select the best option to ensure your effective classroom presence. All right, many of you got it correct. Thank you. Okay, use of peer command, few of you have mentioned it's very dangerous. Okay, your classroom presence can be established in the best manner with the adoption of a well-established posture. So the next question is, every communicator has to experience. Read carefully. Every communicator has to experience. Okay, some of you have mentioned that you didn't understand the options. Manipulated emotions. Manipulated emotions here we mean, okay, sometimes if you're married, you had a quarrel with your husband and you were very unhappy that day, but when you went to classroom, you had to smile. You have to, throughout the day, you had to smile. But when you come back, you had again manipulate. So you had a manipulated emotions or expressions. Okay, anticipatory excitement in the sense you have to think of your audience well before, and you know that this is the way they are going to react, this is the way they are going to answer, so that kind of thinking. Okay, the issue of homophils means a homosexuality or a homosexual person you may encounter, and then status dislocation, you all know, correct? So now you tell me the answers. Charu says now it's 4. Anybody else? Manipulated emotion, somebody said. Ria says manipulated emotion. Lakshmi says 1. Many are saying 1. Those who said 1, why do you think that is the every communicator has to experience it? Because of the example. Someone who said 1, please switch on your mic and tell me why it is 1.
Juby ma'am, they have to raise their hand. I have to unmute them.
Okay. Maybe you can unmute. Can I call somebody's name? Okay, Lakshmi. There are 2 Lakshmi. You can unmute Lakshmi P or Ria Marin.
Hello.
Lakshmi is unmuted. Yeah, please.
Yes,
talk,
Lakshmi.
Ma'am, every teacher will experience, they have personal life as well as a thing. When they come personal life, they'll go through some problems. And as you give an example, I'm just telling.
Yeah, I
So,
think my example went wrong.
maybe.
All right.
So when they have so much of problem, they must not carry out that to the classroom and do it. That is what I felt.
Okay. No, but you know what? I have a different point of view to it. Okay, though I took this example because it might happen to many of you. Okay, or many of us. Okay, so the moment you see your students, you should get only happiness, nothing else. You should be cut off from the remaining world, and you should be happy that you are around them because they exist. That's why we exist as teachers, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. So I think the example was accurate, but that might have misguided you. Okay.
Okay.
Can you please unmute Samir? He says two.
Samreen
Samir?
has been unmuted. Samreen, you want to
Samreen. Yeah.
speak?
Samreen, why do you think it is two? After communication class, you should be confident to answer. Okay.
I think she is not wanting to speak or something. She's not speaking, ma'am.
All right. But
Or-
actually, her answer is correct. Okay. Every communicator, this is as a teacher, as a communicator, or as a anything. Okay. We need to, we should have an
Hello, ma'am.
anticipatory excitement. Yes, Samreen, come.
Ma'am, you said that anticipatory excitement is we have to know people that how should they react when we talk. That is the correct answer.
Why do you think, ma'am? That's what that thinking pattern is. What you have to transfer to others.
We have to know about their emotions first, and then we have to talk.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
I'm not
Okay.
able to give correct explanation, but I
But
think that this is right.
yeah, but I admire your courage. Okay, to you took, though you were hesitant, but you came to talk now. So the communication class was fruitful. So you made me feel good. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, but your answer is also correct. All right. Okay.
Thank
So the others, you need to understand when you draft your message. We saw this. There is a sender. Sender decodes the message. Now, the moment you send the messages. If you will go back to this exercise for a second. Okay, give me 1 second. When I put this question before you, I anticipated the answers, and I had put it on a slide here. Because I know either people will say rop or rape or ripe. Either mine and your vocabulary is so restricted that we know only these words, or we are so much influenced by the thinking or the media. Okay, so this kind of anticipation is very much essential. Now you should be able to have a sound judgment. When I say this audience will laugh, when I say this audience might be little in conflict, so that that judgment is going to make you a better communicator. Okay, we were here. The next one is the classroom communication should essentially be. The classroom communication should essentially be. It's a simple answer. It's one of the life skill that we all should have. I'm sure now I'll get one answer. I'm anticipating. Yes, Ria. Yes. Very good. All of you are giving me the right answer. The answer is empathetic. Okay. Now, why do we say that? You know what? Sympathy and empathy has a huge difference. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All are giving me the right answer. Okay. Now, sympathy and empathy has differences. We should never be sympathetic, but we should have an empathy towards your colleagues, empathy towards the manager, empathy towards the students. This is very important for all of us. Okay. The next question is effective communication presupposes. Effective communication presupposes. All right. So you all got so easily that is effective communication presupposes understanding. Correct. It should not be non-alignment. It cannot be domination or passivity. It cannot be. So you are right. Understanding. Positive classroom communication leads to. Positive classroom communication leads to. Yes, majority of you got communication. I think the highest score compared to research aptitude, right? All right. Okay. Now, when it comes to classroom communication, we all should remember that your answer is correct. Persuasion. So every word that we talk in the classroom persuades students. Okay. Now, if you say research is good, students are going to fall in love with the research. If you say that the so and so industry is good, you know, if that's why I said you should never talk about religion. You should never talk about caste, creed, culture, such kind of things, because it can, your influence can easily persuade them. So correct communication, positive communication leads to persuasion, and it should be positive persuasion, no doubt about it. The last one, the interaction between it, not last one, sorry. Okay, the interaction between a teacher and students create a zone of proximal difference, confusion, development, and distortion. Correct. All have said development. All have said development. Okay. It was easy for you to distinguish because all the other three were negative. Difference, confusion, and distortion are negative. So you were able to quickly pick that the positive one is development. Though accidentally, okay. Now I had promised you that though I am not going in detail with mass media, but what type of questions will come, we will see. Okay, so that just to show what type of questions comes from mass media background, I have ticked one or two questions. This is the first question from that section. First program telecasted by Doordarshan. Why not Asian Games? Many are saying Krishi Darshan. Why not Asian Games? I think the color TV came in very popular during Asian Games. Anybody want to talk? Don't worry about the spelling. I might have made a mistake. I'm sorry because I have done it in a hurry. Sorry.
Juby ma'am, if you want any of them to talk, you can also unmute them. Select and unmute.
Okay, Rebecca says that Doordarshan existed well before color TV. Yeah, she must be remembering the antenna that was there in the house. Okay. Agricultural letter came first. Okay. All right. They're all correct. Krishi Darshan was the first one. The next one is, who is father of Indian cinema? Okay, so these type of questions which we are very familiar with the Indian media, maybe who is the editor-in-chief of Times of India, like that, these kind of questions will be coming. Okay, so you just be prepared with those types of questions as well when we talk about communication. Now, one more question I want to ask: chatting in internet is which form of communication? I just want to check out whether you were with me all this while. Now I get a lot variety of answers. Ma'am, can you unmute Charu and Rebecca? Hello? Charu, why do you think it is non-verbal?
Hello,
Yes?
ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. The question here, what I find is chatting, not
Okay.
like surfing. So, according to that grapevine, I don't say it is the answer for it, nor
Hmm.
verbal. So, I
Okay.
feel it is not because
So
I
chat.
am.
Okay. What is non-verbal communication? Do you remember the types of non-verbal communication we discussed?
Yes.
So you still think that it is non-verbal? You want me to show
Yes,
the...
no, it is. Yes, it is non-verbal only because internet was the nay. Silence was the last option.
Somebody says,
Yes.
Jyoti ma'am said it includes facial expressions. No, don't get
Facial
confused.
expressions.
In chat and all, we don't have facial expressions. Okay, let me go back to the slide. Check
Silence was the
non-verbal
option. Yes.
communication. Check non-verbal communication. Now you have to answer me.
Facial gesture, body proximity, touch, personal. So it is verbal. Writing.
Sure. Sure.
Yes, 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 yes.
All right. That's all. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. The answer is verbal. Thank you. I think with that, I come to the end of communication session. If you have any questions, you can please feel free to ask me. Anybody want to ask? Please let me know in the chat box so that I can unmute you. Like last class, you can give me assignment also. I don't mind. Any questions? Okay, someone is asking for the PPT. Definitely, I don't mind sharing with you. You can use it. Anybody want any clarifications? No, thank you and all. You know, one more session I am coming up. Don't worry. That time I will take. Teaching aptitude, I will be coming up again. So that time I'll take. You have any clarification require regarding communication, please ask. All right, then can I end the session? Anybody has any question? Only thank you is coming up. Yes, Charu has a question. Yes, Charu. Or is that she wants to log out? No need, we can end. Okay. Thank you. You can all leave.
Thank you,
Good
Juby
night.
ma'am. Thank
Good
you for
night.
this wonderful session. Thank you, participants, for your active participation. Have a good day. Thank you, Juby ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Good night.